Every time we look bot lane, he's getting.
I spent a lot of time with my brother growing up playing video games. Now I play League for the last 10 years. My parents have definitely been supportive of me. My dad, he's very supportive, and he doesn't even want to watch my games because he gets too nervous, which I really he really wants me to succeed, so he can't handle if I lose, and just that fear makes him not want to watch the matches sometimes.
Down, they're gonna flash, go forward, put the slow.
I want to be a player. I want to try it. I want to go NLC, but you know, it's hard work, and you gotta keep working hard, and you gotta keep enjoying the game. Like, I love all this around esports as well, like all the orgs and like doing content and shit talking, and like everything is just, it's awesome, man. If esports wasn't here, I had no idea what else I would be doing. So thank the Lord.
They are turning the game around. Fnatic are falling apart at the seams.
Are you guys ready? Because this is the match of the day. Both teams at 3-0. Both teams yet to drop a game in the NLC. Tricked, surprising a lot of people. Fnatic, less so. But is this the undoing of Tricked? Is this the point at which Tricked are going to be challenged at the highest level? I'm going to defer to Trouble for the first point here, just specifically because she said, I think Fnatic are lucky to have not run into Tricked, and I think I want to hear her. I want to hear her elaborate on that rather strong viewpoint.
Okay, so Guldborg has here on the notes that I'm saying Tricked is gonna be tested now, and I corrected that and I said Fnatic is gonna be tested now, because Fnatic have a very specific way of playing for that late game. It's very cohesive, and you know what Tricked does? They take your cohesion, they ripped it apart, and they do whatever they want on the map. They'll take a Z, they'll put it up top lane. They'll have a Pantheon dictate the entire pace of the game. They'll have Soph on the elite. He will not farm a single camp in his jungle. He will just repeatedly gank until you're down on the floor, and then he'll keep on beating you until the next is down. And then when all comes to falling apart, they will reschedule what they want to do. They will rethink their plan, and they will act really quickly on it, pull the TPs into the base, and backdoor.
To set up a less graphic image there for the viewers, I think that we could go back.
You didn't like the ripping apart and the beating?
I mean, I'm all for that kind of analogy, honestly. But looking into expectations too, I think I misworded how I really thought about Trick. Fnatic, we had the expectation of them being here, so they are being tested by a roster like Trick that they really need to prove that they deserve to be at the top. And at the same time, it's not Trick's time to be tested; it's their time to prove themselves. Because so far, they haven't faced Monster Rugby Gaming, as we just saw that they are a really strong team, or at least they can be a really strong team. And now for the first time, Tricked is facing a team that is looking really strong too, and no matter how you look at this, one victory is going to come out of this one at the top of the group. And going into it, I think that Tricked has earned it a lot, because they did really not have the expectations coming up to them here. But I have been loving the way that they are finding ways to be creative in draft as well. They're finding ways to utilize it as soon as they get in game, whereas Fnatic, they're going for a bit more just standard late game vibe. So I can't wait to get into just pick and ban, get the game going, and see what they have ready for us.
I think it's always just going to be a question of do Fnatic play the scaling team fight composition because that's all that they can play, or just because they think that that's the most successful iteration to play in this current meta. And if you're running into a team like Tricked that has a pretty clear fingerprint on, I don't know if you want to call it chaos style or animal style or hyper aggressive, like whatever buzzword you want to attach to that, this will tell a lot, no matter who wins or loses, but just kind of what Fnatic's actual identity is. If they stay the course and say, no, we play the scaling, or if they show we have better players individually, we can match you and we can play an early game and hang with you. If you want to go blow for blow, like, let's dance.
And actually, this raises an interesting discussion point, because I feel that the more that I've seen from Tricked, the more that I'm starting to believe they do have the individual players that can go toe-to-toe. Eren, I think, is contesting best mid lane in the entire league. I genuinely do. Vezor has got incredible flexibility. He played Azir top when Eren's main champion is Azir. You know, they have that incredible flexibility, like the triple threat style of this team. Soph, one of the most aggressive junglers that we have. You know, he's synonymous with Elise. Like, that's like his thing, right? So I think if you're looking for like individual players, I genuinely feel like the more I see from Tricked, Trouble, the more I believe.
And I think they can go toe-to-toe with Fnatic. Like you mentioned, Aaron, he plays anything from a bruiser, a melee, a tank, an ADC, and to the traditional mage in the mid lane Wager. He has Kamas, he has Victors, he has Aziz up his sleeve. Soph usually plays down the bot lane, but now he can play throughout the whole map. It's just a team adapting to every single situation that's given to them. And I feel like Aaron has a big part to play in all that because he feels like he is the one, you know, turning the lever to start the machine rolling, and once they get rolling, they just don't stop. Now, one thing of criticism that I do have is that I mentioned Soph on the Elise. He was permanently ganking and he wasn't farming his jungle at all. It was successful. Now, against the jungler such as Dan, who is very easy to punish this sort of behavior in the jungle, I want to see how this is going to pan out.
And I think we can round it back to the interview we had with Nico the Pico after they had faced against Dusty 2. He was saying that they thought out every pick that Dusty was going to play. They thought it was predictable. And that makes sense why they just went for that late game scaling composition. Against a team like Tricked, I guarantee you, he's not going to predict a single... Okay, maybe something.
You are not prepared.
But you're not prepared for Trick. So it's going to be more or less about the draft and more about how the guys actually played out on the Rift. And you were speaking about how Soph is perma-ganking. I want to talk about how that if Fnatic, they are playing a safe early game where they're managing the waves correctly with the responsibility of Dan coming in and help every now and then with the Shadow. I think they can enable Shadow, or not Shadow, but Dan a lot in the early game, specifically because he's so intelligent about his pathing. And if Soph is doing a lot of perma-ganking, that leaves a lot of room open for Dan to do his show.
I think one of the dangerous things is that while Fnatic have been running more of those scaling or those late game, it's weird to call them late game because they do still spike on 2 items. A lot of those champions, they just get progressively stronger on 3 and 4 items. But playing more of this like slower pace, farming oriented style, they're still taking fights that they shouldn't necessarily win, but they do win because they're better players or the enemy team makes a mistake and they capitalize on it. So again, if you're just kind of looking at the individual games week by week and trying to find the developments, that's what I'm really focusing on when I watch Fnatic Rising. You know, are they taking the sure bet fights? Are they taking them because they think they can outplay, or are they taking them because they're legitimately making a macro mistake and not necessarily taking into consideration who is actually stronger right there? Because eventually they'll run into a team, maybe it's Trick this time around, that punishes for that kind of process.
Every time we talk to Nico in interview, he's kind of just said, we have a specific style. We draft to that style. It's what we're good at. It's what we do. I'm interested if Tricked are going to make that style harder, you know, and I think draft is going to be very telling. And speaking of, we're going to be going into it after a short break.
Drink your coffee from your favorite cup, but you're still not waking up. Oh, what a mess. You know how the story goes. Same as yesterday, or so I'm told. Sweep the filthy truth underneath the bed. Cobwebs in the corners inside your head. Oh, what a mess. We've got to clean it up. We trudge right through the mud. We've got to scrub out the trail of lies before another one. how much I could feel till I met you. It's like I'm seeing all the colors for the first time, and I'm hearing.
We're into draft. Fnatic versus Tricked. This is definitely going to be a very telling matchup for both teams. Thresh and Graves taken away already, and obviously Dan being targeted a little bit here. He's probably seen as one of the strongest junglers in our competition, so Graves being taken off the table is it makes sense.
Was that PlayStation getting Thresh taken away from him? That makes no sense. Going into that too, we are seeing some target bans towards Eren too, so his one-trick pony, quote unquote, because he's playing a lot of other champions, is being removed too. I'm curious to see if Tricked is actually going to go down the let's ban Taric away from Bravado vote that we have seen before. I don't necessarily agree with it, as I do think that Taric has counters and you shouldn't just respect it too much. But we are seeing a Graves ban, we're seeing the Karma ban coming into here. Varus and still up and available if they're letting that one through. It's going to be interesting to see that. And if they do that, Aphelios, Ezreal, still up and available if you want to go for either of them, if you have priority on them.
I think it's
Varus is
Fate.
open.
Yeah.
So I think the question that they're posing to Fnatic is, do you take the Varus or do you take the Twisted Fate? Because while banning Azir is a comfort pick for the enemy mid laner, one of the big things is that he's going to constantly have priority to the lane and really get rid of value. But man, I don't believe in the Volley Bear. Apparently it's been wrecking scrims. It is everywhere here. I wonder if we're ever going to actually see it banned, but here we go again. Volley, Slappy Bear, Twisted Fate, Callista, both all up and available.
Yeah. I was about to say, Trick, the ball is in your court right now, or they might just go straight away with the Senna and allow both the Twisted Fate and the Varus go over to Fnatic?
Where have I seen this pick before too, right? We see Senna here, we see an Orianna. I feel like I've just witnessed this. Are we just going to see the same conversation going into this one?
Something that we could see, like obviously with Bravado, is either a Callista Taric or even just a Taric in general. It gets banned away from Fnatic every time. I'd be interested to see whether, even if it is open, they default onto the one thing that made Bravado a big name in solo queue. You know, it was his Taric.
This is such a Matt Lyons thing too. There, we got the Senna, we got the Orianna blind pick here. If they're going in with the Wukong, I'm basically like tempted to say we got Matt Lyons light right here with what they're going for. So they can do the takeaway pick with Wukong here and then just say, okay, Volibear's going jungle. They're actually going for the Taric.
Yeah. It's Bravado.
It's
like, it gets banned away from him. The guy is known for this pick. Like, it's something that elevates him above it. I'd say Bravado on Taric, best support in the league. Otherwise, not so much. Like, that is genuinely the gap between Bravado on Taric and Bravado on every other pick.
It also helps that you can cover it because you have such a lane dominant champion like Varus standing next to you, so you're not necessarily as punished with the Nautilus with the Taric. There's the Wukong, so you called it Goldberg. They're looking for the Mad Lions light composition, if you will. And talking to Mac, the coach for Mad Lions, he was basically saying that it was Karzu's idea to run the Senna and the Wukong into Varus, and it was just a discussion of what is Varus weak against? He's weak against champions that can dive and champions that can out-sustain a lot of his poke damage. And so you have the dive from the Wukong and you have the sustain from the Senna, and that's basically the iteration of it. But apparently they've got more than just the Senna and Wukong. It's just the first in a long list of many.
And also what I really want to go back to the Bravado pick here for the Taric. Usually we see a lot in the LPL, the Varus being played a lot aggressively with the Tamken to dive heavy. You can do the same thing right here with the Volibear and the Taric ult underneath the tower. Assuming, of course, that Dan is going to be grabbing that Volibear. You can disable the tower, then you can pop on the Taric ult and boom, you can just dive them 2v3. So I'm feeling a little bit shaky. I went with Tricked, but now seeing the Taric Varus bot lane, I'm feeling some sort of way.
I think you are hitting on something, Trouble, especially because it's also the Galio ban, so taking away some of these semi-global presence ultimates in the mid lane that can make a pretty easy rotation down to that bot lane and make use of the priority. There's the second one, the Twisted Fate. So I think you read what Fnatic were seeing. Trick spot too, and they're like, just make it really difficult for this guy to dive. Maybe he grabs the Corki 8 minutes package anyway, but
that was the last one I was betting on.
It's a very Magi-Felix pick as well, Corki. It's right up Magi-Felix's street, and you know they're not going to be taking it away because the Oriana's already been locked in. So it wouldn't be surprising to me to see the Corki. The Elise gets banned, so we've lost Trundle and Elise here, so trying to limit what Soft can do.
I would love to see a Corki here because I think it would work really well with the Varus as well. Like you can run kind of a pseudo siege or a pseudo poke composition. In terms of jungle, I think you grab your jungler here, probably some sort of zoning jungler.
I would just go with the Zac. Oh, I'm so excited to see a Zac, especially since there's a ball as well. I'm like, that's the best delivery in the backline, but
it's literally the Mad Lions comp.
Yeah.
If they could pull out the Shadow and the Humanoid, though, you have to be on point for that 2v2 to like set up the kick into the Shockwave. Like when it works, it looks really cool, but
yeah.
Oh, what a surprise!
I think we're just seeing a really well-rounded composition coming out from Fnatic here. You got a great frontline with the Taric, Ornn, and Volibear. And if you get this Corki in the backline, I mean, you're chilling. You barely have to do anything. This is a really good composition that's well-rounded coming into this one. Whereas if you take a look at Trick, it requires a lot more from the individual player than it really does in Fnatic Rising. I definitely do think theirs is easier to perform right now. It's going to be interesting to see. Well, okay, you sound happy about that one. Take it away.
Yeah, Kayle just absolutely destroys Volibear. The thing is that Volley could never run up to Kayle because she has the slow and she just pokes it at him every single time and then she gets a free farm lane. Like, obviously, if you can pair up the Volibear for a strong dive, like maybe that's a scenario that you work for, but like Ornn Volley, Kayle's loving this right now. She's like, I have a late game win condition. There's nothing you can do to touch me. This is a free Kayle game.
And I just want to touch on one thing, the fact that we said that, hey, it looks like Tricked have to actually outperform because Fnatic looks like they have the more well-rounded composition. I feel like this has been the case for Tricked anyway. It feels like they have been individually outperforming their opponent laners and therefore were able to translate the snowballing effect into other lanes and then into wins.
Yeah, I'm very excited. For me, personally, just looking in, it looks like Tricks have quite a difficult composition to execute on a mechanical level. I feel like Fnatic are playing their classic style. Like, they get to a team fight, they're going to smurf it, right? Look, let's see how this goes. It's going to be, like I said, a very telling match for both squads. If Tricked wins here, there is no doubt that we have to count them in the top end of our NLC. For Fnatic, it's business as usual, right? We're expecting Fnatic to do well. Going to hand over to our casters. Take it away, guys.
Match of the day starts right here, right now. It's Fnatic Rising taking on Tricked. The two undefeated teams in Group B, 3-0, are going head-to-head. One of the things that I remember veterans saying last week was, how are Fnatic going to look if they aren't gifted like almost like a really good team comp to themselves? This Varus seems to always sneak through. You know X-Maddie wants to take it. There has been this answer out with the Wukong Senna, but do you think this is enough, or do you think Fnatic were maybe given a little bit too much in the in Champ Select here?
I think it's difficult to execute. I think the fact they got the Corki as well for those timings on the package is going to be a big factor. And ultimately, even if you do try and threaten onto the Varus, they have the Taric, which is just so powerful for applying that disengage. Unless you can instantly pop him, the Cosmic Radiance comes down. He has to change his Corruption to provide space. You have the Volibear and the Ornn, and it just makes things so troublesome. We really need to see Tricked finding momentum on this Lee Sin, challenging with the Senna Wukong, and then looking to threaten the backline of Fnatic if they want to come out successful here. It's hard to do. It's a hard comp to execute for Tricked, but they definitely have opportunities to do so.
They absolutely do. Let's let our teams have loaded through onto the Rift as we're getting ready to go into the match of the day. I am on the edge of my seat for this matchup. I really, really am. Tricked have kind of blown everyone away with their performance here. No one expected Group B to have Tricked and Fnatic tied. We all thought it was going to be about Munster and Fnatic. And Tricked, if they can pull this win out here, it would shake everything up in Group B. And what a way to do it as well, with the Kayle top lane, with the Wukong center bot lane. I don't know what I want. I really don't know what I want here.
I mean, it's a chance for them to prove themselves, show they can execute a difficult composition, challenge the top team in their group, prove themselves that they're not just capable of beating the weaker teams, because so far they've beaten M&M, which is, I think anyone could do that, a gold class team maybe. They've beaten Barrage, and they've beaten Dusty. Dusty was probably the most challenging, but it was a close game for Tricked. They haven't faced up yet against Munster, and as much as Munster has been underperforming, that would be telling, but they also haven't faced up against Fnatic. And Fnatic, apart from a blip in that Barrage game, have been super dominant. And they have a composition that should be easy for them to execute on, and the agency is on Tricked. They're the ones who need to set the plays up and implement it if they want to find success. Because if they let Maddie, Felix, and Maddie have a pretty safe early game, they'll become really hard to deal with later, especially when the Ornn items start coming in.
So where do you think and when do you think we're going to see Trick set these plays up? If the onus is on them to be proactive, when and where?
I think bot lane somewhere that can really look to challenge. I think that's a critical factor. I think you're going to be looking to have priority in the mid as well, thanks to the Orianna. And then you can look for soft to capitalize on that. I think that's the main point. Look to punish this bot lane. Yes, the Taric is going to disengage him, but he doesn't offer too much early pressure, so you can branch off that.
And Chu with this grasp is actually able to do a fair amount of damage. It's Maddie also getting a decent amount of poke put into him. Can see Aaron went and placed a ward down just to see if he can spot Dan out on this crab.
And Aaron's often been the instigator for this team. Now, we've seen him on things like the Pantheon, but even on other picks, he's looked to find priority in the mid lane and expand the control outwards. And that's why I think as much as we typically see these mage matchups where it's, you know, the likes of an Azir and Orianna or a Corki matching up, we don't put too much weight into it. It is important who gets the priority here, because Aaron having it essentially frees him up to apply pressure outwards. And bot lane's definitely somewhere they can look to do so. But Dan is fishing for his first gang top lane, but Soph is coming to answer, and Dan's been spotted.
Yeah, Soph has been found by Dan as Dan puts the Sky Splitter on for the shield. Wazel's stuffing forward. That's going to be the flash into the wallbang. Dan has to jump away. Soph now looking to turn it around onto Pride. He's going to take this kick. Pride has no jump away, and he is just going to get taken down. First blood to Soph. Great counter gank there.
Yeah, really nicely played. The flash from Soph was perfect to avoid the knockup, and it meant that Pride had committed. And what I really liked there was Soph, you could see for a moment he was looking to chase down Dan, and he made the decision not to do so. And I think it's really important in those early skirmishes, hit whoever is closest. If you over chase, you're losing damage, and when they focus the target closer to them, they're able to take one down. So really nice early move from Soph, and it's exactly what we needed to see if they're going to get the ball rolling in this game.
Big shove going in on this bot side. Fnatic should be able to answer this out nice and easily, though. It looks like it's going to be a double crab as well for Soph, so continue to kind of grow the advantages he got from that first blood gank top lane.
And Aaron doing a lot of work to challenge Magifelix here. I mean, we said the priority would be there for the Orianna, but he's really putting the hurt down onto him so far. And anytime he does this, it's just giving freedom to Soph, as you said, to lean towards those scuttle crabs, knowing his mid laner is there to follow him up.
Yeah, has burnt a lot of his mana to do so. Magifelix will obviously slowly heal up with the fleet footwork heal, but it's still the damage is done. The lane is shoved, and Soph was basically free to move around the map. And now Aaron out of mana, but Magifelix out of health. Like, he doesn't feel comfortable to step up. He still has his teleport available to him, so it's just going to be an early base by him in it here. And Aaron should just try and shove this wave in and deny Magifelix a couple extra minions.
Yeah, it's not too much of an issue, in all honesty, for Magifelix if he just wants to TP back up here. But in honesty, I don't think he needs to. He was only going to miss 3 casters and they were already gone, so he's just going to head back towards mid lane. Do you like to see that he's going for the pickaxe, as you should in a Corki? I think early tier means you're just hard losing the priority even more so. And Aaron does actually TP back in. Again, I think using the TP in this situation is fine, but you have to bear that in mind. If a play occurs in the bot lane, Wazel may be able to TP, but Magifelix will likely match.
Control will place down by Wazel is actually really, really nice. It's going to spot Dan out the moment he comes in. It's a really heads up play towards the top side from Tricked.
And you got to think about the cost this has for Fnatic. They've seen down on the top side, so let's look over to Soft, starting up the Dragon. They know the jungler's nowhere near to contest. You see Bravado throw a ward down, and they might try and steal it with a Varus arrow.
Could be a cheeky one. Not going to be able to get it.
Yeah, a little bit early. You can actually steal it quite convincingly if you activate your W as well, the Blighted Quiver, and then do your execute piercing arrow. It can do a ton of damage to outsmite, but without the vision with the control ward, very hard to do. Just a good play all around from Soft there, and that's the cost. Dan goes for that gank, he doesn't find anything. You lose the Dragon for it.
Imagine Felix constantly feeling the pressure. This means Soft is able to invade, steal away some some jungle camps from Dan. Fnatic do still have the shove bot side. They still have the pressure here. Pretty much expected. It is the Varus Taric early. Soft is moving down. Remember, they don't have level 6. Bravado can't actually really provide any massive amounts of safety, as they do get a lot of damage out onto a Chu. A Chu now going very, very low. That's the flash away. That's both the AD carriers now burning their flash here.
A little bit messy at the end there from a Chu just overstepping, and it was good there for a turnaround from Bravado and Maddie. Ultimately, you're trading actually in favor for Fnatic Rising in the Summoners, and you do get a crushed away. But as it is with the Fasting Center, PlayStation's the one who's picking up the farm, so it isn't going to punish too heavily. But now Fnatic, knowing they have a numbers advantage, just going to push up here to try and challenge Soft. They are going to dip out, so we will get the Grom. Just putting down a little bit more vision in the vicinity. We are closing on that 8-minute mark. Dragon is down, so we could see them swap up towards the top side. Chu is already walking down towards bot, and it looks like Fnatic also uninterested in making that typical just before 8-minute swap up towards the top side for the Herald. Now, it would be a little bit early, so maybe that's the thought process behind not stopping right now, not wanting to give the other team an opportunity to challenge the plates while you're going for the Herald and waiting for it to spawn.
You could also, it might just be Tricked a little worried about the fact that 8 minutes also means package for Corki.
True. I mean, that might be the
it
factor
could be
with
a
Fnatic.
fight they feel like they don't need to take. They're doing fine in the lanes. Fnatic don't go for the swap either, though, so...
Actually, I saw a question mark ping come out from the side of Trick, so maybe they thought Fnatic were going to go top side. They expected them to lean there with the package and look to get control of the Herald, and they were maybe caught off guard, surprised when they saw Fnatic still just go to the bot lane. This could be a little bit of a game of chicken here, trying to work out who's going where, but for now, Trick just going to reset. Pride actually roamed down to take the scuttle near the Herald, so they will be aware of it if Trick do try to start it up.
So Maddie's actually going for a little bit of a freeze here. Imagine Felix has to jump away from the shockwave. Aaron misses that out. Stewart also roamed up. Same with Bravado. Bravado still doesn't have the Cosmic Radiance available to him, though.
Yeah, a bit ambitious there with the shockwave. Does burn a lot of mana for Magic Felix. Obviously, the Valkyrie is quite expensive, and Aaron having the blue buff can continue to apply the pressure. Do you see a Chu has now moved up to help contest his Herald? See, Bravado is also there. Looks like it is going to be Dan starting it up. Kale's level 6 now, but even so, I don't think you want to contest this. A lot of power afforded to this Volibear and this Ornn.
They do have members up in the area, but Tricked a little bit too slow to go for this contest. Magic Felix pretty much out of mana here. Just wants to try and get this reset off as quick as possible.
I think blue buff being started by Dan. If he can get his hands on this, would be nice. But I think, yeah, just going to go for the reset. Does have that teleport from earlier he can use, or can just pick up the package to get back in the lane pretty quickly.
Yeah, Dan's going to be wanting to secure that blue buff. Manamine now finished up, and curious to see how Magic Felix is going to use this package. Is he just going to go to the lane and eventually use it defensively, or is he going to try and be proactive on the map? Obviously, like I said, he's all level 6 on the Kale, so has the Divine Judgment available.
The important thing is that you don't necessarily have to use it aggressively if you're confident in your team. You can just use it as a dissuading tactic, because now you see how Maddie and Bravado were pretty pushed up in the lane. You saw how Soft was moving over and Dan was on the other side of the map. They wouldn't be willing to go for that if the package is up and available.
Magic Felix actually didn't pick it up. It is just going to sit on the
okay, thanks, Jake.
base for a little bit longer. I guess he just wants to have it, so if he needs it, he can just base TP in with it. Oh no, he's TP.
Yeah, he just TP'd in.
Okay.
You are really, I mean, I'm trusting what you're saying, and you're doing a number on me right now, Jake.
I mean, I thought he would pick it up. I guess we both kind of got baited by the fact we didn't hit the
No,
core
I
go
got
off.
baited by you saying he picked up the package, is all I'm saying.
I just assumed you. All right, now the observer's just rubbing salt in the wound. Yeah, we see the doggy biscuits.
And now he's going to go for it with Dragon spawning, but Engage coming in.
Yeah, they do have that Cosmic Radiance. They got to hold it for the moment. The teleports are getting used. The Railgun's there. That's the Cosmic Radiance onto X-Maddie. He gets kicked away, but it is going to pop. And now he's full health. Looking to turn it around on the PlayStation, but PlayStation just squashes X-Maddie. Dan's able to get one back as the Flash Dazzle connects into the Stormbreaker. Soft gets interrupted by the Divine Judgment to keep alive for the moment. And it's just a 1-for-1. Both of the carries are down.
You got to see the HP difference. And now Magifelix turning up with a package. This is definitely going to be a Dragon for Fnatic.
Yeah, he has the package now. He might actually look for something on the stop here. They don't know exactly where he is. Stop is going to put the kick out. Magifelix is actually looking for Weasel. Weasel doesn't have ulti. This is basically a free kill for Magifelix on the Corki. Is going to get it, and Valkyrie to safety. Stoff goes for the kick. Bravado gets executed, and Dan's now being chased off by Eren. Dan's very, very low. X-Maddie's joining into the fight as well. This fight is continuing to go on. Now they're onto Magifelix with the snares, with the kick, with the shockwave onto X-Maddie. The teleport's getting used, and it looks like Trick are the ones looking to be proactive here. Fnatic get pushed away. They probably could have taken a dragon, but instead they went for a greedy kill, and it's now cost them the second Drake of the game.
Yeah, that was so greedy. There was no need. You had complete control of Dragon. You had the package up. That was a guaranteed Dragon for you. And instead, they go hunting for kills. Pride gets chunked out and has to flash away from tower hits. Bravado dies to the tower, and Magifelix ends up being his package for a dive. Yes, they got one kill, but that's now 2 dragons into the pocket of Tricked. And it was just very greedy coming out from Fnatic Rising. There needs to be some restraint there. Prioritize the objective, not the kills.
Yeah, there's a Mountain Soul spawning up as well, which is actually quite nice into this Varus. If you're on the side of Tricked, all that extra resistances will help you versus the lethality.
I think for either side, it's pretty important. Obviously, the shielding against the poke, really important up against Fnatic Rising. But for Fnatic, you have this beefy front line who's going to get a lot of benefit from the extra resistances, from the shield. And also, when you're looking to threaten this backline with things like the Wukong Orianna, there's a lot of strength available in having those shields to protect them.
They're looking to go on a Weasel here. Weasel, level 10. Magifelix shows in and gets himself a nice and easy kill. 2-0 for the Corki. Plates were taken in the bot side as well. As they summon up the Rift Herald, Dan should be able to defend this mid lane, so Eren won't really get too much here.
You said it again. You just said summon up the Rift Herald. Where?
Bot lane. Dan put it down to the plates.
But I thought you were talking about top lane.
No, sorry. I said top lane and then I corrected myself. It's okay.
Right, okay. And
you weren't
losing me
listening
here,
on that
Jake.
point.
You're losing me.
Hey, man, you weren't listening. I corrected myself.
Right, okay. What happened to our synergy?
I don't know, man.
You spend 1 week casting with Trouble Inc. and we've just lost it.
You spent 2 days casting with Scoundrel. We've lost it.
Yeah, that's fair as well.
Aaron, are you that needy? You have to just be with me all the time?
Yes.
How the mighty have fallen. You being the mighty, not me.
Well, seeing Eren has been able to build up a pretty considerable CS lead, but Magifelix, utilizing that Corki's ability to move around the map, has picked up those 2 kills. Oh. It doesn't quite connect there, and overall, we do see Fnatic Rising slightly ahead in gold, but it's Dragons in favor of Tricked. And 2 minutes 30 until that third one. And typically, that's when we see teams really invest in contesting them. They lean towards that because obviously, once you get that soul point, very difficult to stop the other team from getting soul. Every dragon from there on out, you have to contest, and you can't trade objectives. So I expect that to be a big point for both teams, and we'll look to see Fnatic likely try and start a team fight around it. But for now, Trick putting some pressure on this bot lane tower.
Ooh. Chains into Dazzle go a little bit wide, and he actually misses the piercing arrow as well. So Smaddy not able to find anything onto Soft there. Does do a fair amount of chunk to him, but in the meantime, this tower takes a pretty substantial amount of damage from Trick's bot lane.
I think this is the strength of the Taric, though, because Chains of Corruption down, Soft lands a Sonic Wave. That feels like a dive to me. But ultimately, with the Cosmic Radiance, you just know you can never go for it. You'll just ultimately lose because of the invulnerability. And It's that safety net being provided for the Taric that is just such an issue for Trick.
And like Xcandy was saying on the desk, it is a strong pick for him, but they're actually going in. Aaron's just getting womboed on. Shockwave is just not enough. An easy kill in the mid lane. Aaron goes down.
Really nice play to find that rotation, find that pick. It is quite a bit earlier than the Dragon, though, but it is in time for them to take the Herald and pressure that. Maddie's by himself.
Maddie, this is not where you want to be. Use the piercing arrow, gonna get jumped onto. The railgun comes into the Cyclone. Bravado's trying to get close enough to pop the Cosmic Radiance, but he's not gonna get it off in time. And Bravado is now caught out. Stop and PlayStation just gonna kill him nice and easy. Bravado has to flash away, follows up, and Soft kicks him.
Really nice play. And when you consider the amount of vision on the bot side of the map, it's very clear that Maddie and Bravado felt safe. They have 4 control wards down there, just offering so much vision that they felt like they had a safety net. They felt like they were covered from every angle, but it was a nice little play from PlayStation to wait in the brush. Didn't respect it. They actually had a ward in that middle brush, so finding a perfect pocket. And it's also like that. It's like that false sense of security. That was the issue there, is that Maddie felt safe. Bravado was like, okay, I can leave him alone. There's no one near. They find a good execution. We've seen a lot of those back and forth between these two teams. Obviously, the mid lane pick that Pride Dan and Magi Felix got, and then it is answered back there. Herald is in the pocket of Dan. Package available for Magi Felix, and the Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. So likely going to see both teams moving towards that. It's Fnatic Rising already have control of the river.
Now Magi Felix sitting on a lot of his components for his Trinity Force. With that package, it actually feels like Trick are okay to give this up. They've picked up the first 2 Drakes. They know this is a point where they can't really fight Fnatic without it getting a little bit too risky. So they just back off, give over the Drake, and Fnatic Rising will get their first Dragon of the game. Rotating multiple members over towards the mid lane right now. So Maddie has got some time with the wave alone. Provider's going to join him. It doesn't look like we're going to see any turrets falling quite yet, but all of these turrets are actually low mid lane. Top lane, Weasel actually may just find first turret blood, although Maddie is going to not get it first. He tried to kill off as too many minions.
Just interesting. Oh, seen a bit of an engage here.
Yeah, they're looking for it, but Dan was enough to scare him off.
I think for me, it was just interesting they decided to opt away from the Dragon, thinking the package not going to be, not feeling like they could contest that with the Cosmic Radiance as well. But those things aren't going to go away. And as much as there are scaling elements from Tricked, I don't feel like when you're up against a Corki, Ornn, and a Taric, you can exactly just go, oh, we'll be fine, 10 minutes from now. Those champions are still going to be relevant then. It was just interesting me that Trick didn't opt to try and contest it. Maybe it was the lack of vision control, the awkward reset timings that could have been the big factor, but it just kind of delayed the sole threat that they did have, now being just 2 dragons to 1. It gives a bit more time for champions just to collect some gold and scale up. Weizor now has that 1 item finished, the Gunblade, and working towards the Nash's most likely. PlayStation could be in trouble here. TP coming in from behind.
Yeah, they're looking for the play. That's going to be the call of the Forge God. PlayStation throws down the Cyclone, flashes in the Railgun for the shield. Maddie quite a way away from the team as the Divine Intervention comes in. Here's Maddie though with the arrows. He's got the Chains of Corruption if he wants to throw them down. And Trick gonna lose nobody actually. It's Fnatic who lost a member. Bit of a brain fart there is Arrow's gonna connect.
Now you're confusing yourself, Jay.
I'm actually in my own head right now.
But yeah, I mean, ultimately, it was good from PlayStation to buy a lot of time, flashes to dodge quite a bit of the damage coming out from the Ornn, and then Kale comes in, instantly throws down that ultimate.
Uh-oh. Maddie, can he get the blast cone in time? Oh, Soft followed up with Improvisados, coming in with the Cosmic Radiance and the Dazzle. Get some damage off onto Soft, but Weasel's able to secure the kill. Soft looks to get away, but he's going to finally fall down. Magi Felix has the Valkyrie away from PlayStation and a Chew. As the shutdown is picked up for Dan on the volley bear, they get the Dazzle, and Bravado will secure the kill. Now a Chew being chased down by the Thundering Smash. He is actually able to get away from the stun. A Chew lived.
And that was on Soft. That was completely on Soft there because he had flash. He could have R-flashed. Maddie wouldn't be able to respond there. And instead, he tried to greed by using the ward hop instead. Go for the flash, secure the play, guarantee the kill, get out. Instead, he tries to overstep. And Fnatic, as we expect, are always a team who will look to punish when you don't go in and convincingly commit to a play.
Charge goes out. Turret will not fall, though. Naren should be able to pick this Herald up. So Turret goes low in the mid lane, but it doesn't go down. Which means Trick still have this little haven to hide under. Minions, I just doomed the tower. I actually cast the curse to tower there.
I mean, when it's that low, I guess it's not too high value, but I mean, Aaron definitely could have killed that quicker, so a little bit slow on that play. Now, do you see Magi Felix now with the Triforce and the Mirror Mana? Not fully stacked yet, but getting there.
Just as you say that.
As I say that happened last
Mate,
game
we're
as
both
well.
on an off game right now. We're both...
It's just, as soon as I say it, it just stacks up, but either way, Maddie getting close to his second lethality item, and this feels like a real power point for Fnatic, especially as the ornaments have now come in for Pride. We're going to start seeing them handed out to members of Fnatic. And really, this is where Fnatic can start to feel confident in their ramp up and to be challenging Trick.
PlayStation dealing with the waves in the top lane. We've got a minute until that Mountain Drake spawns up. The ornaments are starting to get handed out as well. Thank you very much for quickly trying to switch into the Gold Observer so we can see exactly where it's sitting. It's quite hard because obviously if you look at a Chew and Xmadi, you're like, oh, wow, massive gold leaf for Xmadi. A Chew's kind of a support right now. That gold is actually on PlayStation. I have to hold that though. Wazel's getting jumped onto. Divine Intervention, Teleport just to buy some space as the Railgun. A little bit too late. And Teleport actually got interrupted by Pride's ultimate there. So PlayStation unable to come in and save the day. And this just means it's a free teleport down and a kill. Fnatic should just get the second dragon and they're going to force the hand of Tricked.
Waves on no TP as well, so he just won't be there in time unless they manage to stall things out. Reset coming in from Magi Felix. He's going to grab that package.
Oh, flanking Tarek. Probably not the best thing.
I mean, Ticked have to be careful because package has just been picked up by Corki. They really cannot contest this, especially without the Kale and PlayStation without TP. They're not even going to look for it, but again, this is another dragon going over to Fnatic. Now 2 in the bag, more resistances for the entire team. It's getting a bit concerning because at what point are Trick going to say, we need to fight here, we need to contest? I wouldn't feel confident in the scaling against what Fnatic have. I'm not saying that they flat out lose it because Kale will be very relevant, as will the Orianna. But if Corki gets through a team fight safely, he can do so much.
I mean, you can't scale if you're dead. Magi Felix unstoppable. 5-0 on the Corki now. Wazel can't seem to get the time of the waves. Just being cut through, and this is giving Corki a lot of gold.
And that's a scary thing, especially if he goes Infinity Edge next, gets that upgraded by the Ornn. The damage on his abilities will be so insane. It's not even just the auto attack, it's the raw attack damage currently on this man immune Corki. If he gets the Infinity Edge as well and gets it upgraded for the extra 30, he will just absolutely chunk everyone on Tricked. And remember, Tricked is a pretty squishy team. The only real people who have any sort of tankiness are the Wukong and the Lee Sin, and that's not much by any means. So things like the lethality Varus will carry through a lot longer into the game. Normally can have a big difficulty going up against tanks, can obviously withstand that by building armor. But I feel like the poke, especially from Magi Felix and Xmadi, will ring true for the rest of the game, essentially.
Now, even with Magi Felix having 5 kills, he's actually only up 100 gold to Aaron right now. So Aaron's still very much in this game and very relevant on the Orianna. Fnatic look to contest on the blue buff. It is secured by a Chew of a Smite. He's able to get the quick 1-2 switcheroo and get out of there.
Yeah, I'm just struggling to see when Trick say, okay, we're winning this game now. They've given up the last 2 dragons. Fnatic have pulled ahead in terms of gold. They have a huge front line, a really solid back line with the Corki and the Tarek to provide the utility. I'm getting a little bit concerned at this point, and we know Fnatic love to lean into scaling options. We know they really just flourish in those late game team fights. One question mark we have had, though, is Xmadi. He has had some positioning issues. Last week was one of them, where he just overstepped and got caught out. And it has been something that has kind of plagued his UKLC career on Fnatic Rising, where just at some critical moments he would overstep. He'd be in the wrong position, he'd get blown up. And I think that could be the window for Trick, because they definitely have champions which can execute on that. And on top of it, it's a 2-carry composition for Fnatic Rising. If Maddie goes down, it's all up to Magi Felix to really provide the damage, especially in the later stage of the game. Right now, Dan and Pride are still doing fairly relevant damage, but eventually it gets to the point where they just can't cut it.
I mean, you can see that with Xmadi 0-3, 1 on the Varus. Has been punished, has been caught quite a lot by Soft and PlayStation. Now, the ornaments are coming out. The Trinity Fusion's picked up onto Magic Felix. You got the Forge Fire Cape and the Abyssal Mask. Or Infernal Mask, actually.
Interesting going for sort of the mixed stats coming out from the Trinity Fusion rather than the raw AD coming out from the Infinity Edge. I do like the movement speed bonus that Trinity Fusion goes, though. So that's fair enough. They could have.
I think it's also an immediate burst of power, I guess.
They could have given that to Xmadi with the... Oh, actually, they just gave that now with the Ghost Blade. Yeah, that's fair enough, because Infinity Edge is still a bit away. Level 16 now on the Corki. That is really important, because those rockets, especially the big one, is just going to hurt so much. And you can see they're setting up vision around the Baron area. They find some solid poke or an engage opportunity, but I could really easily try and take this fight. But Dragon spawning in a minute 20. They could lean towards us. Engage coming in.
Into Call of the Forge God. That's the opening. That's the quick pick Fnatic can find. Xmadi gets his first kill of the game.
It's power of the Varus. Not just the poke potential, not just the spike on the Thalia items, but the engage you can do. Ult flash, very hard to react to, and a Chew does go down. And Fnatic now feeling strong. They have Dragon in a minute. They can get control of the area. Look to pick that one up easily. Wazor is trying to challenge down, but you have to be so cautious of him just looking to engage. He has the blue smite and a flash available.
Magic Felix going to grab this wave top lane. He has the teleport available to him. I'm not sure if he has a package, but I guess we'll see when he goes back to base. He does have a package. Thank you. I assume he's going to pick it up for Dragon.
So his first package he delayed quite a bit and synced it up with a Dragon. And so now every time there's a Dragon, he has a package available. And essentially just guarantees they have that high impact ability for those important Dragon fights. Or just for farming the jungle, you know, that too.
He's a bit quicker around now. Soft needs to be a little careful as Fnatic are looking to see if they can find somebody. Wow, Wazor just loses half his health.
I mean, that's Corki for you, but level 16 now on Eren, so a big shockwave could be the turning point. I think we need to watch out for that ability and see what it can do in this situation. But now Fnatic grouped around. There is a ward though, and PlayStation looking for a flank.
They have a big wombo. Eren's on his way down. He's going to get zoned off by Xmadi. Base is coming in. Actually, it looks like Magic Felix, he's itching for a fight. A Chew so low. The kick back into the railgun. Call of the Forge God gets thrown onto Soft, and Soft's getting chunked by those rockets. A double kill for Magic Felix. That's what you're talking about. Level 16. The power of those rockets. And now Eren may find himself a little caught out. Fnatic collapsing on multiple fronts. The teleports are getting used. This could just be a Baron if they find the kill here. Chains of Corruption go down into the arrow. Eren pops the shield, but he will be run down as he throws a shockwave onto Xmadi, trying to get the kill. But Dan will be able to pick that one up, and Fnatic conveniently find that kill right outside the Baron pit, and there is nothing Trick can do about this.
It's a solid cleanup there, and Magi Felix on the Corki. He sees a window. Tricked are very split up, trying to look to approach it from multiple angles. He packages in and gets 2 quick kills. He is so strong right now, they just cannot answer it. They find some more, and now they take the Baron. At this point, I'm really worried for Tricked.
Feels like the game is getting rougher and rougher for Trick right now. You can see the gold difference over time on your screens right now. Trick did have control early. It was minor, but they were pulling ahead. But Fnatic have just been on an upwards trend.
And I think it's just...
in the latter end of this game.
You're not given clear windows here, because with the Cosmic Radiance up... Remember, the Cosmic Radiance hasn't been used for about 10 minutes. It doesn't need to be. It's just the threat of it means you can't find those windows to engage. And they're trying to look for Magi Felix isolated, but I don't think this is going to go well.
Oh, they do have that Cyclone into the Valkyries. They try to chase him up. The Railgun will go pop, and Soft finds the kill.
Never mind, color me wrong. Magi Felix without a flash is vulnerable. They do manage to get that punish, the shutdown. Now
they're looking for Eren. Call of the Forge God will connect as they throw the Dazzle into the Shockwave. Eren goes down mid for mid globally, but this will result in an inhibitor turret falling, and most likely the inhibitor. PlayStation able to dodge away on that Dazzle. Xmatty looks for a little bit more, but he's unable to find it. Wazel, though, getting caught out, has to use the Divine Intervention. The rest of the team are coming in. Xmatty's getting healed up for the moment, but they do get themselves a knock up on the PlayStation, who goes golden. Fnatic trying to turn this play around as Trick just don't have the members, don't have the health bars to continue to go. They get the inhib in the mid lane. They've still got Baron. They've still got the cannons. The zoning soften a 2 away. And these towers are slowly being chipped down by Fnatic Rising right now. PlayStation's back into the fight, jumps onto Xmatty. They use that Cosmic Radiance, and PlayStation just running to the wind as Xmatty is able to secure himself his 4th kill. The teleports as Magifelix looks to join into the team. Dazzle onto Soph and a Chew as they are left stunned. 31 minutes on the clock, and Fnatic Rising beat out Trick.
Really convincing win from Fnatic just to firmly put themselves in at the top of the group. And I think ultimately Tricked, it was a nice concept coming out from the draft, but they had strict windows to hit. They had to execute on some difficult moments, and they just couldn't find the opportunity. I think that Taric, as much as obviously Bravado's huge in it, I think even without his proficiency on the champion, just the threat of the Cosmic Radiance made it so hard. You wanted to see them using the Wukong, trying to dive the backline with the Orianna, and just the windows weren't there. The fact that the Cosmic Radiance just stayed unused for such a long time showed that Tricked weren't even willing to try and attempt these plays because they were so convinced they wouldn't work. And I think after they opted not to fight the first dragon, I was concerned. After the second, I was worried. And then from that point on, it was just Fnatic's game. Really clean play coming out from them, though. They knew exactly what they needed to do. They played around their package timers, and they just didn't give the windows over to Trick. And I think, considering we had some question marks for Fnatic after the game against Barrage, they've been so much more convincing as the split has gone on.
I think that kind of cements as well Fnatic's standing here in Group B. Obviously, now they're 4-0. They just beat out the other undefeated team, a team who were the big upset, you know, getting themselves 3-0 in the standings. But with that, Fnatic have secured themselves first in the group and really put a statement into all the other teams in Group B. Now, guys, we are going to cut to a quick break, and when we're back, we'll have the analyst test, break that game down. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you after this break.
Standing up in the pouring rain, climbing up to the top, no pain. Call it up till the morning, come round again. Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. You feel it when you go, oh, oh, oh. Ready or not, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break tonight. Speed it up so we don't hit the ground. Fly away, not afraid to look down. We can touch the sky before we fall. We fall. Turn it up, gonna scream and shout. Tell me where all the angels hang out. We could celebrate with red and gold. Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. You feel it when you go, oh, oh, oh. Ready or not, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break tonight. Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. You feel it when you go, oh, oh, oh. Ready or not, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break tonight. Warm it up till the engine burns. Feel the fire as we turn. We're at the top, gonna touch the sky. Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. You feel it when you go, oh, oh, oh. Ready or not, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break tonight. Let me hear you say, oh, 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 oh. You feel it when you go, oh, oh, oh. Ready or not, we're gonna break it up, we're gonna break I don't care if I'm alive or not. The shock is the taking of an offer.
Fnatic take the win. It didn't look easy for a little bit, and then it looked really easy. Let's go right back to the start. I know, Frost, you were talking about draft, and you were actually favoring Tricked going into the game.
Well,
let's
I
start
thought that
there.
Tricked had a good draft, yeah. I really love the Kayle pick. I think Kayle is a great answer into a scaling pick like an Ornn, as well as a Volley Bear. It's really hard to punish her. Now, the thing that's really difficult about Kayle is once you get her out of the lane phase, so kind of that level, I'm gonna say level 11 to level 16 window that's so crucial, is finding the right lane matchup. And I think that's where everything went wrong, because Magifelix, like, it felt like they kind of skirted under the radar where, okay, they're farming, and then it just got so easy, it turned it on, that Corki was massive, that Kayle was never able to find a safe side lane.
And even though it felt like Wazer was trying, there were a few question marks, right? You hear the Corki getting the package, you're pushing towards a tier 2, like Wazer did, where the tier 2 is down, you're most likely going to get caught by this package. And like this, like Frost said, the Corki was just piling up the kills under the radar, and then he was able to explode. And also I felt like there was a lot of miscommunication with a lot of teleports from Wazer that were sort of wasted, that were pulled up to the top side when he could have stormed down the bot, gotten all that solo XP, that solo CS, the towers, everything, all the juiciness that the Kayle needs to get to level 16. He just didn't follow that, and I felt like it sort of fell apart there for Tricked.
And one thing I really liked about this too, that it wasn't necessarily just one in draft and we could be like, oh, that team is probably just going to win no matter what. It was really close all the way through, and I feel like we saw another side of Fnatic where they can actually punish a team that was as strong as Trick was here. I thought they was extremely good at playing around with their summoner spells too. I think we saw a mid lane dive where 3 of them were just there, ready to punish an Aram who was just like 2 centimeters off his tower, but they knew he had no flash, and they were able to punish it. And I think that is just the way of Fnatic going in here. They were able to punish every time that someone was just a tiny bit overstaying.
Yeah, it's showcasing the strength of Fnatic Rising, and while this roster is so respected when you talk to the teams, and they're always the first name out of everyone's mouth in terms of the top team, and it's that consistency on their decision making. They know exactly what their playstyle is, they know who their strong members are, and they play to it every single time, and there's a very small margin of error, whereas like Tricked looked good. Like there were certain moments in this game where like, yes, you're a Tricked fan, teams are trading objectives, I haven't seen this all day, this is something better than just a straight fiesta. But then it's those individual missteps. You know, Trouble was talking about the teleports. You were talking, Goldberg, you were talking about the Orianna's flash being timed, you know, Ori getting caught out. And like, that's the small difference between Tricked and Fnatic Rising. They're just that much tighter on everything.
And I felt like we saw Riddle also pulling the Senna Wukong onto the Varus, and they weren't necessarily able to execute that. I do feel that Tricked were able to execute that much better here. They showed why it's strong, why it can be successful. So I'm still waiting to see if that Varus will remain a priority pick, or if it can be countered by a bot lane that can actually play the Senna Wukong properly like Tricked did here, at least in the lane phase.
Honestly, I think this was the most control we've seen Fnatic so far. We've seen them take leads every now and then, but they've been playing around with their leads, okay? We've seen Xmati dive on the turret and almost threw the game against Barrage. We've seen Magifelix having hiccups every now and then. I felt like everyone here was... apart from some small early game mistake, but outside of that, when they finally had the lead, they really played to their win conditions. They were controlled, they were calm, they were collected, and as soon as they knew that they had this win in the back, they just took it.
I've actually got Xmati ready to go with an interview, so I'm going to chat to him a little bit about that game. I'm going to express some of those thoughts over to him. Matty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, man. How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. I mean, a few ints in this game, but other than that, it was pretty clean, I think, or it was pretty easy sailing.
Yeah, I think you definitely took control of it, especially from the mid game. I'm going to start off with a couple of questions, because obviously you've been kind of one of the top end performers in the UKLC, following on to the NLC as well. How does the level of this league compared to the last split of the UKLC, do you think?
I think in terms of the top end, like, I would still say us and XL should be first and second in the league. But I think the kind of middle of the pack is much stronger this time. Like, I think there's much more contenders that are actually trying to, I guess, beat us and XL to actually get the top spots. So I think kind of third through to sixth is a lot stronger than last time. I would say that's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Something else, obviously, you're one of the few teams to make 0 roster changes coming into the NLC. How have you developed as a team coming off the back of the UKLC and the European Masters there, and then to this point? What have you worked on?
I think a lot of what we were working on was being on the same page. I think before, I mean, when we were playing the game, we had multiple different ideas, or like at different times in the game, we wanted to do different stuff, which kind of led to us being not really together. Whereas this time, like when we're drafting a comp that wants to like play aggressive, we all try and be on the same page and just commit to stuff. And if we want to scale, we all try and be on the same page as well. So I think it's just like being closer together as a team and making plays more consistently together.
Sure. Obviously, we saw the Taric lock here. This is just a little question. Is Taric like an auto lock for Bravado whenever it's open? Is that just an auto lock?
I mean, obviously he really loves playing it, right? I think it's not an auto lock, but we always feel really comfortable playing with Taric because we've played with it so many times and we know he's really good on the champ, that when we have that champ, we just know that we can always team fight and we always have a really strong R in fights.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, obviously, he's kind of known for that pick, so it makes sense that he'd want to express it in competitive. And actually, just a final question, I'd love to get your thoughts. 3 weeks ago, we asked most players, like, who your top 4 of the NLC was going to be. And everyone said XL, Fnatic, Riddle, and Monster Rugby Gaming. That was the general top 4 that everyone thought of at the start of the week. We're 3 weeks in now. Where does your top 4 sit? And has it changed since week 1?
I mean, I think it's still fairly similar. I think Monster Rugby, they had a few games where they could have looked cleaner, but I think in general, they are a good team. And when they're all on the same page and play aggressive, they're good. And then Tricked, I haven't seen much of them play. I mean, not Tricked, Riddle even. I haven't seen much of them play, so I'm not entirely sure. But they look decent, and I know XL is also a good team. So I think it's still fairly similar. Yeah.
Sure, fairly similar. Okay, well, cheers, Matty, for joining us, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You guys are undefeated, so congratulations, and hopefully see you more in the future.
Yeah, cheers, man. Thank you. Bye.
All right, guys. I'll before anyone chimes in, I'm going to have to throw us to a break. We're moving into our final game of the day, so we'll see you very soon.